the commentaries on the law, printed 1890. Would you believe I read that whole thing? It's about 2,000 pages. But he gave me other books, and many books, as a matter of fact. And I'd read them, you know. And I learned. But while I was in the office of Marcel Salvini, I began to think. And I vividly remember the day when there was a particular financial problem on a paper. And I looked at it and I didn't understand it. Then I looked at it again, I understand it perfectly. Then I looked at it a third time, I didn't understand it. But it took me about 5 or 6 times, and then I really understood it. And I think from that time on, that's when I began to think. You know, it's whether thinking is a blessing or a curse. At times it's a blessing, at times it's a curse. But in college, he asked me finally if I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm just a young kid. I don't know from beans. These are college kids, bright. Me here, I'm just a kid from St. John's. I don't know whether I don't think I'm smart or anything like that, but he didn't, let's face the real facts. He did not offer me the right to go to the University of Pennsylvania with him paying the fees because he liked me. He was an old man now, and he was very worried about himself and have someone to care for him, in the event of something happening. And that's why he got me. And then he didn't want to lose me. He wanted a young Catholic boy. That's how it all started. And as I say again, I do not mix it up. As I say again, he did not do it for me as a person. He did it for me as to remain with him. And when you really get down to it at that time, Brian, the fees weren't that great. And they tied me up so much, I lost out on a couple of courses, I couldn't do it. But then we settled into 5 courses. And 5, all the way through. And I didn't do badly. It's, economics. You read the book before the exam and you do it. You pass. And so it's wonderful. And then he always wanted me to get into the law school. So he knew a few people. And then I had to make my application to the Bar Association. And how long is this going to take? How long is this?
As long as you want.
Okay.
It's a 2-hour tape, but there's plenty. Why did you choose to go to Temple instead of University of Pennsylvania?
Because there were no night schools at anywhere except Temple Law School. Now, he had gone to the University of Pennsylvania Law School, and so we started that way. As I say again, he did it to keep me with him. And as I say again, I didn't mind at all. Notwithstanding, I knew exactly anyway, we went on, and I started working. I kept working, of course, and going to school. This was college at night, and my family didn't really accept it. You know, they thought, no, maybe okay, maybe not. As a matter of fact, one time, my mother, that was in law school. My mother said to me, "Who do you think you are? You know, going to law school." So that's the way a lot of the wind blew. But I didn't mind.
Okay. We're going.
Where was I last?
Your family didn't like you going to law school.
No, that's not it. My grandmother, my God, she felt that, you know, this is our town, go to law school. My grandmother loved it. My grandmother was a good woman. She would tell me stories too. For some reason or other, everybody talked to me about that. But, so I went to Temple University Law School. Now, if you can really understand college as breeze through, in law school, no way, no way. You've got to work hard and really work at it. So I was working in the office, and then I was working in the office, and I was going to law school and studying very hard. Now, it was very difficult, but I didn't mind. If you can really understand that, you had work to do and you did it. Everybody in the class did it. It started off with 100 people and wound up with 40 in the second year. So it was hard, difficult, but you did it. And they always said that a married man can't do it, and every married man who was there flunked out. You must pay attention to it. And so I gained a lot of friends there. Joe Thompson. He and I used to go to a different bar every Friday night in town. It was a lot of fun. I liked him.
When's the last time you saw him?
I called him. You know, he's Tom's godfather. So I called him. And I never talked with him. To tell the truth, I talked with his secretary. You know, I said, you know, he's my son's godfather. Oh, you know, oh. And I said, now that's the Tom Wilson who was in Back to the Future. Oh, he was? You mean Mr. Thompson is his godfather? Yes. And so send me pictures. So I sent her a picture. But Joe Thompson has had a lot of problems, and I don't want to. He's a nice guy and deserved more, but he didn't get it. But that's the way it is.
All right.
Where am I?
Charlie Doherty, another guy you went to law school with, right?
Yeah. Joe Thompson, Charlie Doherty. And there were quite a number of fellas in there. Now, we went to Temple University Law School. Now at that time, the graduates of Temple were persona non grata. Nobody wanted them because they were not good enough for the partnerships around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were certain partnerships that wouldn't take anybody from Temple. No, nobody. So, but still, you when you finished, you got a law education. You got a degree. Now, I didn't finish college. I had 2.5 years college, and they had what they call a graduate record examination. Now, I had to take that to show that I could have gotten a degree. And I did take it, and frankly, I came out beautifully. A man told me later that I got the highest mark ever attained by anybody taking it through that bar association.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, no question about it, you've got to be a lawyer. So anyway, it was rough. Marcel Viti died just as I was becoming, graduating. As a matter of fact, the night before his funeral, I was the class president of the seniors in the law school. So I was a Toastmaster at a dinner for 600-800 people. So it was I don't know.
Where's Marcel Viti buried?
Where is Marcel Viti buried? Now, his great-great-grandson great-great-great-grandnephew was here one time, whose name was Alessandro Viti. And he wanted to go, of course, to know about the poor Vitis here. Now, I took him around. I was very proud of the Viti family, and I said, now, if Marcel Viti were alive, I'd just throw you right out the door. But he's dead, so let's not worry about that. But it turns out their family came out, goes back to 1300. And quite frankly, if anybody looked up our family, I wouldn't have any doubt they could do that too. You know, the Wilson family. And but you know, maybe someday one would. It's very interesting. The St. Andrew Society, the people would be in there whose name is Wilson, who would know about all our family. In any society you want, there's a Wilson in there who's already looked all this stuff up. There are Wilsons all over the place. I was going on before about the Wilsons in Pennsylvania and Maryland. Now, I think that the Wilsons in Pennsylvania are very closed people. Now, the Wilsons in Maryland, I believe, started off in Maryland and began, because they were having a lot of children, they moved out in the country of the United States and moved out, all the way out. Understand? Right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And if you go out there, there are Wilsons there. And I bet they all come from the same place. So it's just interesting. But what am I up to?
Well, tell us when you met Mom. Where and when in 1958?
No, I went to a party one night when this girlfriend was mine was going to. She was not a girlfriend of mine. Quite frankly, she was a pain in the ass. But she got everybody together, and they were going to her house for a party. So she was there already, and then I came in. It was just like a row house, and there was conversation going on about, I don't know what it was about, but then I just picked up your mother, kissed her, and and I never met her, and everybody keeps laughing at that, and that's when I said, what's your name, Anna Mae? I know Ann. She always called herself Ann at parties. So anyway, we stayed together that night, and I finally asked her whether she was going home. And so I drove her home, and when we're coming to a particular, I said, now remember, that's there, this is here, that's there, this is where we turn. And so anyway, it was that's the way she said it. And then the next few days I called her and we had lunch, and I thought she was much too young for me, so I forget it. But then one night, several months later, I gave her a call. And then for some reason or another, we just started going together and got married. But her girlfriends were real cats. One of them said, he's a one-date guy. Don't ever take him out. He's a one-date guy. Another one said, don't marry, he'll never marry you. He'll never really go with you. So anyway, every one of them was startled when when she told them that she was going to marry me. It was very interesting. I had nothing in common with those people. I saw them every now and then. It was a group, and your mother became of the group. I was never of the group, But I went with your mother, and Nana Kelly baked a pie every night. Every night, come home, nice new pie. Every kind of pie, you name it, she wanted. You got it. And then your mother was told, if he doesn't ask you to marry him by January 12th, he's out. And it was on after midnight mass, Christmas Eve, that I asked your mother to marry me. And she says, ask me again. She didn't answer me. She just said, ask me again. And so I didn't. But the funniest part of that particular morning, the next morning, and your mother got 15 calls saying, did he? Did he? Did he? I felt like I was in the middle of it. I was there with your mother in the middle of a stadium, being watched by all these people, and I didn't know. I was the only one who didn't know it. Then, and of course, but I've never regretted it. I want to get back. Each time I keep thinking, this is rather garbled. Wait till I answer the phone. Hello there. Very well. Yes, he is. Hold on.
Okay, we're back going.
I want to tell some of the funny stories about myself. One of which was that I remember running out of a building in St. John's toward my brother George and saying, "George, my voice changed. My voice changed." And it seemed funny at the time anyway. But all the fun we had with our band, or the time that Sister Claire Genevieve said to Jack Hagan, "You put that long underwear on there and you come down and show me." So he goes upstairs, he puts his long underwear on, and then he's ready to put his pants on. I said, no. She said that she wanted to see you. And so we took him downstairs in his underwear, and we showed him to Sister Claire Genevieve. And she laughed. God, she laughed. A lot of things like that we did. I've never gotten over there. Occasionally, when you're older, we would sit for dinner, breakfast, the same seat, same table, and everything else. So occasionally a guy would jump up and say, "Oh, my leg, you kicked me." And and Claire would come over and hit the guy in the head with a spoon. Right? So one day we tried to all do it. We all jumped, oh. And she laughed. We had her laughing quite a bit. She was a good girl. But she understood what was going on. The kids there, well, it all depends on the way you accept things. As you may know, I accept things, as I say again, not problems and difficulties. I just accept them and run over them. And a lot of people will say, "Oh my God, I have a problem," and they can't accept the problem. But throughout everything, we always everything we did, I was always involved with somebody. And the band's there. What else? And we used to go down to Convention Hall. Now, we were about 30 blocks away from 40 blocks from Convention Hall. And we walked down there. We walked it, whenever they would have a basketball game or something like that. Even the indoor field, track and field. So it was very interesting, and but we would walk all the way. Another thing I remember, occasionally the theater owners would invite the kids to see the movie of the day. And the next day I was going to be 13. We all went to this theater. And I was tall. I was really tall. I was bigger than most. But the man swore I wasn't 12, and the nun swore I was. And so finally the nun won, but I think the guy always questioned that. And they gave us a little pack of candy, of course, and on the little candy it said, "Is your birthday tomorrow?" And I had to say yes. So it was December the 30th, in the year before I became 13 years of age. It was the old Fays, Fays, which is down at 40th and Market. Occasionally you get, I saw Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in a big theater in North Philadelphia. We were in the balcony and we saw it, there. As I say again, occasionally you would get this stuff, get invited, and then every year it was so good. To us, it was nothing. But to the people who did it, every year at Christmas time, the guy by the name of Hagen owned bottling works, Pennsylvania Bottling Works. Sodas and all that sort of thing. And they would set up bags, put apples, candy, and all that sort of thing in it. But if you remember, you did it once. And then the next day they would come and Santa Claus would come. Fatty was always the Santa Claus. He worked at the company. And he was always Santa Claus, and everybody knew who he was. But it was very kind of them to do that for us. And then they also did it at Easter. So with Easter and Christmas, you get the bags of candy and all that sort of thing. And occasionally there would be